There are moments in life when something doesn't feel quite right, but it's hard to explain why. It's not loud or obvious. It doesn't come with flashing lights or dramatic scenes. It's subtle. It shows up in how you hesitate to speak or how you second-guess yourself around certain people. It lives in the quiet adjustments you make, shrinking a little, softening your voice, holding your breath in conversations that should feel easy. And over time, without meaning to, you stop feeling fully yourself. Not because someone hurt you outright, but because their presence slowly taught you to stay smaller. That's the kind of dynamic I want to talk about. And oddly enough, it begins not with people, but with something far more primal. I've always been drawn to nature, not just the picture-perfect side of it, the kind that ends up on postcards or Instagram, but the real stuff, the wild, messy, raw beauty that doesn't care what you think of it. Give me a tangled forest over a trimmed hedge, or the muddy banks of a river over a polished garden path. I can sit in a park for hours, just watching birds argue in a tree, or ants carry the world on their backs. It calms me, grounds me, reminds me that I too am just a part of something much bigger. And animals? Don't get me started. A baby rabbit? Instant smile. A pit bull with too much energy. Brings out the child in me. A deer in the distance, still and alert. Suddenly I'm 6 years old again, watching Bambi with wide eyes and a soft heart. Once I swam with wild dolphins. Open ocean, no barriers, no feeding tricks. Just them and me in salt water. For a brief moment, I felt like I was in the middle of a movie. Not the star, just a quiet extra who got lucky enough to be there. But of all the places I've been, gardens, parks, forests, there's one that keeps calling me back. The jungle. And not just because it's wild and beautiful, but because it reminds me, more than anything else on earth, of real life. The jungle is chaos and brilliance in the same breath. Nothing is polished. Nothing is predictable. But everything, absolutely everything, has a place, a purpose, a role to play. It's where the cure for cancer might still be hiding, deep in some unseen root. It's where waterfalls crash so hard that even the mountains flinch. It's where color isn't decoration, it's warning, camouflage, invitation. And in the middle of it all, everything survives by being exactly what it is. No more, no less. Which brings me to the crocodile. There's something undeniably majestic about them. They glide through the water like they own it. And to be fair, they do. No noise, no drama. Just slow, perfect movement. Eyes half closed, like they've seen it all before. And yet, if you blink at the wrong moment, if you mistake their stillness for sleep, they're on you. In a flash. One snap. Over. They are rulers of their territory. Not because they roar or chase or show off, but because they don't need to. They know what they are. And more importantly, they know exactly what they're capable of. You can feed them. You can film them. You can even convince yourself that you've formed a bond, but miss one detail. Forget for 1 second what they are, and you're done. That's how the jungle works. Beautiful, yes, but never sentimental. There's no kindness in that water, just clarity. No illusions. No second chances. And here's the twist that gets most people. Crocodiles, despite their reputation, are useful. Vital even. They're the cleanup crew of the river. They eat the dead, the dying, the diseased. They keep the ecosystem clean, balanced, efficient. Without them, things rot. Populations explode. The whole system collapses. They're terrifying and they're necessary. Which got me thinking, isn't that exactly how some people function too? No. I don't mean actual killers or monsters. I mean the people in our lives who quietly unsettle us. The ones who smile while they scan you. Who say kind things with a twist. Who pretend to offer safety only to create tension. The ones who don't show their teeth until they do. You don't find them in the jungle. You find them at your dinner table, in your meetings, in your friend group, in your family. And the real danger? They don't look like crocodiles. They look like charm, like confidence, like protection. They might even look like love. They don't wear scales. They don't lurk half submerged in rivers. No, these crocodiles wear smiles. They ask you how you're doing. They offer compliments that somehow leave you feeling smaller. They show up just enough to stay relevant, but never enough to feel real. And slowly, over time, they start to feed. Not on your flesh, but on your spirit. They nibble at your confidence. They swallow your self-trust. They chew through your clarity. Not all at once. Not with one big dramatic bite, but with 1,000 tiny ones. A joke at your expense. A delay in their support. A sideways glance that makes you question your own gut. Until one day, you look in the mirror and barely recognize the version of you that still calls them a friend. And the worst part? Sometimes you don't even know it happened. Not until you're out of the water. Not until you stop trying to make them happy. Not until the fog lifts and you realize the version of you they liked best was the one that didn't threaten them. That's the human crocodile. The person who feels safe as long as you're not fully yourself. As long as you stay smaller, quieter, predictable. As long as you keep feeding them with attention, validation, vulnerability, without asking for anything back. But the moment you shift, the moment you grow or set a boundary or stop apologizing for existing, that's when the spin starts. They might turn cold or dramatic or wounded. They might accuse you of being selfish, distant, disloyal. But all they're really saying is, I can't eat you like this anymore. So what do? You stop feeding them. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop pouring energy into proving that your growth isn't an attack. You stop swimming in waters where your safety depends on someone else's hunger level. You get out of the river. You dry off, you sit on the bank, you breathe again. And yeah, it feels cold at first. Lonely. You might miss the familiarity, the pattern, even the pain. Because at least when you were with them, you weren't wondering what was wrong. You knew. You were the problem. Convenient, right? But then something shifts. Slowly. Quietly. You start laughing more. Sleeping better. Your shoulders relax in ways you forgot were possible. You begin to remember the version of you that existed before you were prey. And you realize you were never too much. You were just in the wrong jungle. Because in the right company, your light doesn't threaten anyone. Your boundaries don't scare them. Your wins don't make them smaller. They celebrate you. Not because they have to, but because they can. So here's the truth that hurts before it heals. Not everyone who says I care about you actually does. Not everyone who stays close wants you to thrive, and not everyone who claps is clapping for you. Some are just keeping rhythm until you stop dancing. But you don't owe anyone your light just because they smiled at your shadow. You don't have to swim with crocodiles just because you grew up near the water. And you definitely don't have to bleed to keep someone else full. So the next time someone makes you feel small, unsafe, or unsure, ask yourself, am I being loved here? or just tolerate it? Am I growing or just surviving? Am I safe or simply silent? And if the answer hurts, good. That's your cue to move, because the river may be wild and beautiful, but you belong on solid ground.